Meaning, and this could very well be the most impactful thing that you have ever heard. It could also be, if you choose, it could be the most offending thing that you've ever heard in your life if you're not ready to receive this. So I haven't read this book yet, but every successful person that I know has, and I've read many books on taking ownership. So I'm really looking forward to reading this by Jocko Willink. And when you take ownership, what it is it turns mountains into molehills. So let me tell you the life that I used to live. It was a life of validation and sympathy, which got me absolutely nowhere. So when I had severe loss and a family member was dying, I would go to people and say that my faith was in jeopardy. I'd go to people and be like, man, how could there be a God, man? What's going on, with this family member? And they would say, oh, you poor thing, man. That's horrible. You're right. You're right, man. I don't think there is a God. Then the flip switch. Then I started to take ownership because I didn't want to lose my faith. And I found people and surrounded myself with people like Mary Stahl. Mary Stahl lost 5 of her children, her husband, and 2 of her grandchildren. And she said, you know what, Jesse? She said the same thing. She gave me a little sympathy. She gave me no validation, but she gave me, oh, that's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. But here's how you're going to keep your faith. Let's pray together. And it was complete difference. Sympathy and validation team are getting you nowhere in life. So if you're surrounding yourself by people who just sympathize and validate your condition, your circumstance, they will get you nowhere. But the Mary Stahls of the world will get you everywhere. Why? Because I had one family member suffering. Mountain. To me, that was a mountain. She lost 4 or 5 kids, a husband, and 2 grandchildren. How big did my mountain look at that point? It looked like, wow, I can overcome it. She overcame this loss. Holy cow, I can do this. I can get over this. I'm not going to lose my faith. I'm going to be like Mary because she was in 10 times of a worse position than I was. Same thing with my divorce. My divorce, there is this, and I was filled with blame. I'm the victim. She did this, she did that. And I went around, I had validators, sympathizers. Oh man, that's horrible. Man, Jesse, that's horrible, man. She's crazy, man. She's crazy. You're just such a great person. I can't believe anyone would leave you. Then I went to Celebrate Recovery, and they had a little different story that they taught me. It wasn't of blame. It wasn't playing the victim. It was like, wow, you only had it that way. We've had it 50 times worse, and we're at fault. We're responsible to get our way out of this. And I was like, whoa, this guy's had it way worse than me. And here I am sitting around these sympathizers, these people that are just making my mountain, making it better. See, when people sympathize and you surround yourself by sympathizers and validators, they make your mountain bigger. Why? Because they've never overcome that mountain. So in their world, it's impossible for you to get over that mountain, or they don't want you to overcome that mountain. You ever think of that? Maybe they don't want you to overcome that mountain. Maybe they just love sharing the big mountain together. Where someone that truly loves you, they're going to give you some sympathy. They might give you a little validation. And they're going to be like, hey, this is how we overcome that mountain. So when you put things out there about your mountain, like, oh, it's good, man. You'll be okay. Is that what you're getting? That make you feel good? Or are you getting people to be that, like Lance Armstrong? Let me give you another example. You're going through maybe a medical issue. I was going through a medical issue a few years back. It was horrible. Then you look at Lance Armstrong. He was diagnosed with testicular cancer, brain and lung cancer, all at the same time. Did he quit the Tour de France? No, he went out and won it 5 times. So let's just say you're going through a medical issue. Oh man, it's a reason not to quit, man, or a reason to quit. That's what the sympathizers and the validators are going to say. Lance Armstrong is going to be like, oh yeah, man, I remember when I was going through a medical issue once. I had brain, lung, and testicular cancer all at once. But I dug in, I got back on my bike, and I won the Tour de France 5 times. But I'm sure you have a really good reason to quit right now. I'm sure your medical condition is far worse than mine. Guys, I know this is a tough message, but who you choose, do you want to feel good in the moment and feel validated? And do you really want someone's sympathy? Is that what you really want? Or do you want to overcome what you're going through? I know there's a lot of single moms. A single mom would come to me and they would get sympathy and validation. I don't know what it's like to be a single mom. Then I started surrounding myself and getting to know other single moms who are crushing it in life. And some of their stories, they were like living out of cardboard boxes. They had husbands that physically and mentally abused them, that took off 0 child support, and now they're left with 4 kids. And they're still working their business. They're still killing it. And I share these stories sometimes with single moms, because all a single mom can get from me is sympathy and validation. I don't know what that's like, but I can introduce them to other single moms. And that would make that mountain look like a molehill and make it conquerable. So get around people who aren't sympathizing and validating, but who are conquering. And guess what? Those people love you. Mary Stahl, she's a loving human being. But Mary Stahl isn't going to say, oh, you're doing your best right now. You're doing your best. She's going to say, hey, you're doing great, but to keep your faith, let's go and do this. Follow me. I've done this before. I can show you how. So be very, very careful of that in life and start taking that full ownership. And it's tough. This is not a popular message. But when you take full ownership and you get around with people who've done it, get around with people who have done and conquered what you're going through. And you might think, no one's going. I thought this during my divorce. No one's going through this. Nobody lost half. Nobody had to deal with. Man, there's people that dealt with 20 times worse. And what did that do to my mountain? Made it look real small. It made it look like I was able to conquer it. I hope this is well received, team. There are those people out there. I can help lead you if you're like, yeah, Jesse, I'm going through this. This is my mountain. It's not going to be overnight, but maybe I'll be able to get you in contact with someone who's overcome that mountain, having it 10 times worse than you. And maybe now your mountain looks a little bit smaller. I really hope that you feel this message. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great growth-driven rest of your week.